These people are apparently walking red flags. We're gonna play a little game. If you think these are red flags, drop a red flag emoji in the comments, and you're gonna see me do this, and I don't have a red flag, but pretend I'm freaking waving one. Like,
now, this should have been a red flag. However, red is my favorite color.
are those vapes? Is that what they call them? Vapes? Juuls? Is that the same thing? I'm old, okay? I'm not in with the youngsters these days, but I see people using these all the time. Juuls or vapes? Is that the same thing? That is a lot. Do I see that as a red flag? No. I'm not gonna wave my flag. My flag is not being waved. Personally, it doesn't stand out to me as a red flag, but let me know what you guys think.
You want to know what the biggest red flag in a relationship is that you're not going to want to believe, but you need to believe it because it's f***ing true, especially if you have an anxious attachment style. It's this. If somebody is already telling you that they think you're their soulmate or you're the best thing that's ever happened to them and they're talking plans way too far into the future and you've only known them for a few weeks or a few months, run. That is not love. That is called love bombing, okay? And all it does is it gets you instantly attached to them. It makes you feel instantly codependent on them because then you put all your validation in how they see you, okay? This person does not know you. You have a whole life behind you with lots of trauma and lots of amazing quirks that they cannot get to know about on such a deep level in just a few weeks or a few months, okay? So when they say they love you already or that they think you're their soulmate and you've only known them for this much time, run, okay? This is not a Hallmark movie. That does not happen in real life. And people who are doing that and saying that early on, I'm sorry, baby, but they're missing something up here. Like, that's some 6th grader shit, okay? Adults, take their time. Adults like to have a slow build because that causes a slow burn. Things build too fast and they burn even quicker, okay? So take your time in relationships and understand that if it's progressing too quickly, it's not a good sign. Sorry.
They are a vibe. I'm gonna wave my flag, okay? I'm waving my red flag. However, I think it is very situational. I do think you can connect with someone and fall in love with them genuinely in a short amount of time, but I think what he's speaking of is like after a first date when they're just like, I'm gonna marry you, I want you to be my wife, do you want to meet my family? Like that, red freaking flag. Yup. Like you don't even know me. You really don't even know me. And it comes across as creepy. I said what I said.
Okay, so let me know what you think about this. I had a really good friend once upon a time, but the reason we're not friends anymore is because... Oh, my friend's fine. We're not friends anymore because she was logged into her Instagram on my phone. For some unknown reason, I don't really remember why. But I was on my phone one day and I see a notification pop up. And it's a DM. And the DM just so happens to be from a girl who was dating my ex at the time. So I clicked on it and I obviously read the whole thing. And this girl and my best friend were chatting up a storm. This girl was like, oh, couple goals.
Why was she pausing so much? That was so hard to follow because I felt like I was waiting for something, but she was just finishing a sentence. I'm like waving it a little bit. I think it's sketchy behavior for your best friend. I think it's a little bit of sketchy behavior, but I also think this entire thing is just incredibly immature. Like, I'm 30 years old pretty soon, so like this to me is just like, ugh, I just can't be bothered. I can't be bothered, and I'm definitely not going through my friend's Instagram messages. Like, I just don't care. I've lost the will to care about a lot of things as I get older, and this is one of them. Sketchy behavior. I would just talk to her about it, but now you look kind of sketchy. Like, you're kind of a red flag too. Sorry.
This is going to be a story time, but also a relationship red flags series, episode 1. Let's talk about looking through your partner's phone. First of all, don't do it. Like, just don't do it. That's the moral of the story. Just end the video there. And yes, it did happen to me, and I was very, very upset about it. So let me paint you a picture, okay? It's kind of the middle of the night, but not really. We had gone to sleep, but I'm a grandma, so technically it's like early, but I'm sleeping. My best friend calls me. My best friend, who happens to be a boy, who the guy that I'm seeing has also met, and they get along well. He calls me, I don't answer because I'm sleeping, okay? The guy that I'm seeing sees this, and that's when it hits the fan. It starts off pretty chill. He asked me why he called me. I'm like, the friend group is out right now. They probably just want to see where I'm at. And then I go back to bed because I think that's the end of the conversation. I am then rudely awakened, by this guy telling me that the only way that he can go to sleep at night and return to his natural state of ease is if he looks through my entire conversation with said best friend. I am fully awake and ready to fight now. Okay.
I'm with her. Red flag. And when I tell you, I have been in relationships like that, where this person had to see every message from anyone of the opposite sex ever. Red flag. Red flag. Run. Just run. Don't even try to make it work. Run. Oh no. What red flag did you ignore? I'm waiting. What is it? Hi, I have a kid with my sister. Okay, well, that is more than a red flag. I feel like I would have to wave something much bigger than that. That's a massive issue, and we're gonna move on from that. We're gonna breeze past that one. And why the would you ignore that? What the? Breeze past, Joce. Breeze past. Breeze past. There's no explaining how someone ignores that.
There is an epidemic happening, and that is the girlies who give you backhanded compliments. And this is not a good
I
thing.
hate
This is not a good thing at all. No. I will give an example. I went out this weekend, showed up to this rooftop party for the Baker Mac concert. Thought I looked really good. The first girl I see, she comes up to me and she goes, "Have you showered today?" I go, "Yeah, of course I have. Why?" She goes, "You're really tan. You're really tan." Keep in mind, I got a spray tan, and she knew that I'd gotten a spray tan. I was like, "Are you telling me it looks bad? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? What is your end goal?" She was like, "No, it's just you're really tan. It looks like you just got back from a tropical vacation. I'm jealous." Just say that I look like move on with your day. I didn't know, like, I don't understand what is your end goal? I'm already out. There's literally nothing I can do. The worst thing you can do is when you insult someone about their appearance, about what they're wearing, when they're already out and they can't go home. Like, did she want me to jump in the pool and try to scrub off my spray tan? I don't like these girlies. They are not to be trusted. Just say that you're jealous and move on with your day, sweetheart.
Girls do this all the time, and you have to be aware of it. This is why I'm like, trust nobody, because sometimes you think they're being nice and it's like they're not. They're really not. And they're actually like projecting their own insecurities onto you, and you don't even realize it half the time. I've only noticed this as I got older, so someone needs to hear this, and this is your warning.
What is one red flag that was so in your face that when you look back at it now, you're like, I don't know how we
So
missed that
many.
one. I'll go first. So I was dating this guy, and this girl kept on popping up on his Instagram, and I was like, oh, that's weird. I was like, who's this girl? And he's like, oh, it's my cousin, don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, she was fucking worried about it. He was like, she was sitting on his fucking lap. What cousin does that? Not any cousin of mine. Spoiler alert, it wasn't his cousin. So I did everything a good home wrecking side bitch does. I collected my receipts and I sent them off one by one. Turns out girls you're romantic with don't like to be called cousin. So it was on the lawn faster than you could say hot diggity damn. See you never. As for me, I made a full recovery because the next day I was in Mexico, and nothing beats a red flag scandal quite like margaritas and a brand new dickening by the poolside. Red flags. Gotta love them.
Yeah, that whole cousin or friend. Oh my god, yeah. I'm waving that red flag. I also was waving it for the last one. I think good. We're gonna say that. But I'm waving the flag. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Or when they suddenly have this new friend that it's like you've never mentioned them and we've been dating for 4 years. I'm like, oh no, that's my really good friend. It's like, really? Because we live together and we've been dating for 4 years and you've never mentioned this person before. But yeah, a really close friend of yours. Okay. I'm not speaking from personal experience.
So I went on a date last night, let me tell you about it. Chatting to this guy for a while, and it was kind of every time we'd try and meet, something would come up and it would get cancelled, and it was just all getting all too hard to find a time and a place to meet. So he invited me to his house to cook me steak for dinner. I know. I agreed to go to his house. Anyhow, I go to his house and his lawn hasn't been mowed for like 6 months. It's like a jungle. Red flag. So I proceed. I knock on the front door and he comes to the door and he says, hang on, just let me put a shirt on. I'm like, you had all day to get dressed. So he leaves me at the front door in the freezing cold while he goes and puts a shirt on.
What?
Then I go inside the house, we do the awkward hello, and I walk through the hallway and his smoke alarm is just dangling from the ceiling with no battery in it. And I walk further down the hallway and his other smoke alarm's dangling from the ceiling.
Huh?
Red flag. First of all, you can't mow your lawn, you can't get dressed on time, and you can't even put a battery in your smoke alarm. This is not gonna work. Won't be seeing him again.
All right, I'm sorry. I just can't look past the fact that on a first date to meet someone, you went to their house. That is literally how all true crime documentaries start. Like, you know that, right? Mm-mm. Absolutely not. Public place. Oh, that just gives me anxiety. Oh, I'm waving the flag, by the way.
What is a red flag that you should not have ignored?
Oh man, okay. Red flag number 1, I met this woman online. We start talking a lot. She doesn't really want to give me like her name, even though we've been talking for a couple of days and she pretty much had all of my information. Also, she tells me that she's 40, which is already like 10 years older than me. Finally, when she does tell me her full name, she tells me she's actually 48 and she didn't want me to Google her and find out her real age.
Oh, red flag.
And she said that she doesn't spiritually feel 48, she spiritually feels 40.
Red flag.
I just like breezed on by that for some reason.
Why?
Also, she said that she was still living with her long-term partner, but they had been separated but still living together for like 9 months. She would tell me she was gonna call like all the time, like at certain times, and then like never call. And when she called, she would only be like in the car or somewhere where she was totally alone. She also refused to FaceTime, and I begged her and she wouldn't do it. And then finally when I backed her into a corner, her FaceTime didn't work. And then we were supposed to meet twice and she ghosted me both times.
This is literally an episode of Catfish. You are literally an episode of Catfish. There were red flags the entire time. It's hard to feel bad for someone when there's so many red flags. And if you haven't seen Catfish, please do yourself a favor and go watch. I've seen every single episode, which is why I will never be catfished.
All right, and while we're on the topic of red flags, if a guy ever uses the excuse, I don't think I'm like good enough for you, your next and only response should be, okay, thank you so much for letting me know. And run for the fucking hills. Never talk to that guy again, because here's the truth. If a guy actually thought that he wasn't good enough for a girl, he would try the hardest he's ever tried to get that girl, not use that as some excuse for not trying.
That's a good point. I've never truly thought about that, like in that perspective. If a guy said they're not good enough for me, like, yeah, I would see that as a red flag. Only because, because then I feel like that's gonna be their excuse for everything. You know, like, oh, well, I'm just not good enough for you. Like, they're gonna use that as a reason. And it's like, no, you are. I don't entertain people who I don't feel are a match for me. So, and I want someone who's confident in themselves. Like, we're equal. We are equal. We're partners, you know? When he hasn't spoken to you in 3 months and pops up out of nowhere like nothing ever happened. Oh, duh. Red flag. Of course, because they're only talking to you when it's convenient. Red flag. All right, guys, you have to tell me if some of these are red flags to you. I waved my red flag for pretty much all of them. There's a lot of red flags in this world. All right, I'm getting out of here though. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. I had fun. I hope you did too. So subscribe to keep hanging out, and I will see you in another video.